I want to show you how to use the page builder and its basic settings here using my company's website as the basis. So this is the About page on the Click Collective right now. And you can see it's divided into rows. There's background images, background overlays, different text, different columns, things like that. So I just wanted to show you a simple page like this and some basic elements. When you are logged in, you're going to see edit page at the top. There's two ways to do it, one from the front end and one from the back end. I'm first going to show you the back end. This is the front end version where it says edit with WP Bakery, and then this is the back end. So I'm going to go ahead and go in the back end right now because I think getting the basic foundational understanding of the page builder is a little more important. If you visually step back and look at it, you're going to see rows right here. So you can see this row has one element, this row has three elements, so on and so forth. This row is broken into three columns. You can see as my mouse hovers over each individual area, there's a new settings to be opened. So I always say with the page builder, hover is your friend. If for some reason your page looks like this, it's in shortcode version, which is exemplified by these little brackets all over, and it looks like code basically, but it's called shortcode. So anyways, you can also get to it either way, back end or front end editor. So we're going to focus on the back end, like I said, right now. There are some templates you can also use. So I will actually go ahead and show you that. They're pre-built templates right here. There's about 250 of them. So it basically is a row that you can add to your site, and it's going to look exactly like this. The benefits are it's already pre-designed. So that looks really great. The negatives a little bit are that you have to use what somebody else has done and try to figure out what they did. And then if you just start adding rows all over the place, there could be a little bit of design inconsistency throughout your site. But it is a really great alternative. So I just wanted to let you know that. So right here you can see like this first row, for example, has a single image. So when I say hover's your friend, I want to make sure you understand. You can see that it says edit this row when I click on the pencil, or it says clone or copy this row or delete this row. So you can see that that changes. Here, for example, is edit this column, and then here is single image where you can either drag and drop. You can see the mouse changes. You can see that I can move it. You can edit it. Again, you can clone it or delete it. So you understand what each one has. If you want to add something new, go to this add new element, and this whole page is comprised of all these elements. So I can't possibly go through every single element and each of their settings because they are all completely different. But I'm going to go through the basic ones. So if you want to add a new row, you're going to add a new row right here. Which I'm not going to add at the moment because that's what this is. If you want to add an inner row, you can actually add an inner row. I'm going to go ahead and do that. This right here is for the column widths. You can see there's all these standard column widths, and they pretty much need to be in thirds, halves, fourths. There is 1/5 column or 6, but I think for the most part they need to be in 6. So you just simply click on it, and you can see it breaks apart into 2 columns. To add an element to the column itself, I'll just add a simple text block right here. So you can see text block. And it really is very simple because it's gonna open up a setting. So you can see the text block opens up and it has its own individual settings here. It's just got some standard Latin in here, so you can always use that as a placeholder. And it's got its own little menu right here. If for some reason you only see one line, there's this toggle toolbar option, which is kind of interesting, but you can open up and expand. Keep in mind, you don't want to use, this is an SEO thing, but if you want to have a heading, make sure you're careful. You don't want to design using heading 1, heading 2. You want the headings to actually be SEO hierarchically, if that's a word, specific to what your page needs, not just because you need a larger text. So just be careful of that. We'll talk a little bit more about that another time. I just wanted to note that. Also, if you're going to add an image, you can use Add Media. You can either upload files and drag and drop directly from your computer, or you can select them here, or you can use the ones that are already existing in your media file library. So I'm not going to do that. Well, actually, I'll add one of them right now. I will just add this little ostrich or bird or whatever it is. So I'm going to insert it into page, and the alignment of it you can see is a little weird. The default is no alignment, but if you want it left aligned, right aligned, you'll see, or no alignment, or center alignment, you'll see that the text will change around it. You can also resize the image within here a bit if you want. So that's just a simple example, but you can go ahead and save changes and you'll see your actual content right here as well. Whenever you're done making changes or throughout you building a site, you always want to go over here and click update to make sure that everything gets updated properly. I'm going to go ahead and delete this row because I don't actually want to save it. Something else that I want to show are so those are just some examples. Images and text are going to be two of the most basic elements that you're going to use to build a page. Or edit a page rather. And if you want to change something in the row itself, we can have content be in container full width, background only, or full width content. A background image is pretty self-explanatory right here. You can add a background image. There is a little X right here if you need to delete it, but you can click here, add it, or change it up to something different. You can hide it on mobile views if it's just not laying out properly. You can change the background position. If it's a pattern, you can repeat the pattern. If you don't want an image at all, you can actually just have a solid background color and then change the text alignment and things like that. Color overlay is actually if you want a gradient, which is similar to what I have right here. This looks like a pink to a purple gradient in color, as you can see. The direction. There's options for shape dividers if you want the row to have some sort of a shape to it, and you can also animate the row. If you're not sure what parallax means, that's one of those fancy, I don't know if I have it on this page or not, but it's one of those fancy, yeah, I don't think I do. When it appears, I do a little bit right here where the image appears to stay the same and the row color seems to kind of hover over the background image. So those are some basic row settings. As far as column settings go, they're somewhat similar. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. You can center the content. You can add padding. So padding is going to be the space around your text or image. You can change the background color, the hover functionality. You can add a column background. This is particularly handy if you want just one column to have a background and the right to be a color or something like that. So it just depends on how you want your page laid out. So let's see. So yeah, I'll go back into column settings. Background image on the column, like I said, font color. You can do a video background, and then other options are going to open up if you select that. You can link the column, so you can have it open in the same window or new window. Here's where you would put the URL, and make sure you read these. Salient does a really good job of actually telling you what you're going to be doing and what this means. For example, if you don't know what border radius is, as I would assume most of you don't, it says this will round the edges of your column. Okay, that makes sense, right? Anyways, be sure to pay attention. A lot of the elements do have their own tabs up here with other settings and options as well. So those are really the basic page builder elements. I want to show you the front end quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and click on front end. I don't want to save anything because this is my actual page here. I was just using it for demonstration purposes. But the front end, you can see, I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this. I'm actually going to delete the entire inner row. Delete. So you can see it's similar, and it's just a visual layout that makes changes as you go. So for example, if I have a text block right here and I notice that there's a period that needs to be changed or something, text or whatever, you can just go ahead right in here and change it, no problem. So you always want to go ahead. If you want to add something, you see these plus signs. You can see it's the same edit column. There's an arrow right here if you need to expand it. So you can play with these settings quite easily. Custom heading. This is another element. You can do custom text. You could actually have a poster page. The element tags, like I said, are going to be the hierarchy that we wish. You can link it, align it, set the font size, set the color. The default font family is going to be in the Salient general settings, but we're just focusing on the page builder right now. But there's just a bunch of different options that you can do for all of these, and this is what the front end looks like. So it's pretty simple to make these changes as we go. Keep in mind you want text to actually be text on a page and not text over an image, because Google can't read text on images and they're not going to be mobile responsive for different screen sizes. So make sure you always want to do that. And speaking of mobile responsiveness, Salient has this only on the front end, where it's really simple for you to see how it lays out on, apparently I need to fix that, how it lays out on different screen sizes. So you can actually just go ahead and play with how it's going to look on different mobile responsive sizes. And then to exit this, you can either close this X sign, and I don't want to save any changes, and then it'll just take me back to the front end. So hope that helps. And I'm here if you have any questions. You can email Lori at simplystyledsites.com.